I'll record on this computer. Okay, perfect. So we just wanted to run down and let you guys know basically how the conference is going to be operating. This is we'll call it a 2.5 day long conference. So you guys will arrive at the SUNY Global Center on March 30th. We will start the conference roughly around 3 or 4 p.m., but we will have light refreshments out before if you guys want to get there earlier, meet with your delegations and talk. The program will be finalized and sent out to everybody, but we do have a rough draft currently in the blue book that should have been emailed to everybody. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to once again email me or Derek. You will have roughly 2 meals provided a day. So there's going to be a coffee break and some meals. So the first day you'll have a coffee break when you arrive, dinner that night. Second day you'll have a coffee break in the morning. Lunch that day, no dinner on the second day. And then on the final day, you will have a coffee break in the morning and the last meal. So that being said, if you guys have any dietary restrictions, please get that to us as soon as possible, just so we can make sure that the conference center knows and we can accommodate accordingly. That being said, also, please make sure that you guys are all registered so you guys can be invoiced as well. If your college is paying for it, they need to know as soon as possible. And we're trying to get that all squared away. That pretty much covers most of the basic logistics. As you guys know, I've been in contact with you guys regarding Metro cards. So if you guys would like a Metro card, please respond to that email strand. I just resent it today. Around 4 p.m. Requesting a Metro card. If I don't have that by Tuesday at 12, I'm sorry, we're just not gonna be able to accommodate that for you. As far as the actual conference goes, I'd like to take some time to kind of dive into the program and answer any questions you guys might have about your roles, what's expected. This is a professional dress conference, so everybody's expected to be in business professional attire. Obviously, we don't want you breaking the bank, so if you don't have it, just as professional as possible, please. No ripped jeans, no Crocs, no flip-flops. I think that's like my major qualms. Derek, feel free to add.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's, we're trying to, which I guess this is the broad statement we can make. This is, we're trying to simulate a European Union conference as closely as we can, while still understanding we're all students who are still learning. Undergrads and graduates in the European Union is obviously extremely complex, as I'm sure you all know. Many of you know more about the European Union than either Tears or me. And you can study it your whole life and not know much. So the idea is just to keep everything as close to, so this is in keeping with the dress code, keeping as close to a real European Union conference as one would proceed, as close as possible. So that goes along with the procedural things and meetings. We'll get into the meetings a little bit if you guys want to, but don't go crazy trying to follow exactly a Robert's Rules of Order or European Union procedure. Just the idea is to give students a feel for how something like this would go. So as best as you can, keep it as close to a real life conference would be, while also making sure you're learning and most importantly having fun.
Any questions so far before we move forward? You guys can just talk to you. You don't have to raise your hand.
Yeah, especially because most of your screens are off, so that wouldn't work very well.
Then just moving forward. So our student leadership team isn't fully here. I know Sophia from McGill is here from the student leadership team, so she can mention her 4 representatives from Sweden. In case you guys do not know, Sweden will be representing the presidency of the EU. So basically, every 2 years, Derek, there is a new presidency awarded in the EU. So last simulation, it was France. The simulation, it is Sweden. And all of the names that you've been assigned are the actual current representatives. So we've been trying to keep those names up to date. I'm sorry if that's changed, but it is expected that you kind of do a deep dive on that person and try to make your decisions in the meetings and the simulation as close to how they would actually respond in meetings as well. That being said, our student leadership team plays a major role in this conference. Cassandra Brown, who you might have been hearing from, is our GS, or General Secretariat. So she's a part of our student leadership team. So is Patrick Healy and Seth Ruger and Yente, I can't pronounce it right.
Yeah, so a combination of students from Canisius, students from McGill University, and Buffalo State. So they're sort of the way we've heard it described is they're in charge when in character, when the simulation is underway. They're in charge of sort of managing the proceedings, and Tirza and I just kind of are in the background managing the logistics of everything. We obviously aren't role playing something. So Tirza, you want to start with the program?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys just so we can kind of go through the program a little bit so you guys can know what to expect. We do have a hard start time every single day, so it is expected that you guys are at the convention or at the conference center. We, as a group, will be staying on 52nd Street. The conference center is on 55th Street. And there's plenty of lodging listed online. If you guys haven't already found lodging, I recommend you do that ASAP. Just as obviously housing in New York City and lodging in New York City is not great. Let me put, where is it? Here's the program. So let me share my screen. Share screen.
If you have any questions as we go along, just butt in and ask them. There's too many to, raise your hand or anything. So.
All right, so you guys should be seeing my screen right now. So basically, where is it? Whoa. Obviously, this document's pretty long. You don't have to be able to recite any of this. This is really just for your own information as far as how it would be best to kind of learn the EU and how to do your role well in the conference. It's somewhere.
Everything you'll need to know is in what is, if you hear us referring to the blue book, it's in this, which is on the SUNYMEU website. I think many of you have copies of it. It's just, it's very long. It's good to just get kind of acquainted with it. So everything we would say on the Zoom is in there. So this is, more of an opportunity to ask questions and things. But if you do have a question and you can't reach one of us or something, always refer to the blue book. It's pretty thorough. And most things you'll be able to find in there. And if you have, clarification questions, we can always answer those, including the program.
So don't look at the side over here that mentions the awards. We are actually only doing 5 awards this year, so those will not be continuing. But to move forward with the program, we will have opening ceremony starting at 4 p.m. Sharp. At the SUNY Global Center, we'll have conference checking in starting at 3. If you arrive around 2 or 1, depending on like when you guys get in, or if you guys can't check in early, please be in contact with us as soon as possible. As we'll try and help out as best as we can. So at 4:45, we will have the ambassador who is flying in to speak to at this conference, Ambassador Olaf Skog. And he will be speaking from 4:45 to 5:45. SUNYMEU will officially open that night after our buffet dinner, and then we will officially be in simulation. So pretty much the first day, it's a little bit calmer. You don't have to be addressing each other with your formal titles or anything like that. And as we like to say, while in simulation, please use everybody's true simulation name. I just see Derek here right now, but I'm not going to refer to Derek as Derek if he is playing the presidency, or actually he's playing the master of operations. I forgot what our title are, but we're master and mistress of operations. So that would be what we would be referred to during the simulation, and then out of simulation, feel free to call each other by your preferred names. We will have the ability to write down preferred names and pronouns on the back of all the name tags too when you get there. So please just take advantage of that if you have any preferences. Day 2, we will start sharply at 8:30 a.m. And by 9 a.m. we are in delegation meetings. So make sure if you're staying further away from the center, transportation in New York City is hard to negotiate at times. So if you're staying further than 3 to 5 blocks, you're going to want to get up early and get on that train to get over to the or get on the subway to get over to the center, but we will start sharply at 9 a.m. Does not matter if you are there or not. This is kind of just a rough estimate of how we'll be going. As you can see, we had a lunch break on the second day, and we have a coffee break again from 3:15 to 3:30, another round of functional meetings, and then by 6 p.m. we have our press conference, and then we end the day at 6 p.m. on the second day. Once you're done with the simulation that day, obviously is up to you where you go. Just know that you have to be back there by Saturday at 8:30 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, just keep in mind, I mean, it's, sorry to cut in, but it's, these are long days. I mean, for students who have done it in the past, I know from doing it in the past, they are long days. So you're trying to balance, both having fun with friends in New York City and also just preparing for long days of meetings. Now it's all fun and interesting. It's just long. So that's why we have the breaks built in that hopefully you take advantage of, not just, because they're breaks, but also because that's a good time for you to interact a bit more informally with other students. So take advantage of those.
So yeah, and then moving on to Saturday, April 1st. Again, we'll have another round of functional meetings, and then by about 5:45 p.m. we'll finalize our conclusions, and we'll have our closing at 7 p.m. So technically by April 1st at 7 p.m. we are done with the simulation. If you would like to leave that night, completely up to you. There is no obligations left at that point. We will cover everything in that time. Does anybody have any questions regarding the program?
Any questions on the program so far?
This is the easiest information session I've ever done in my life. So then moving into procedures, I would just like everybody to take a minute. This is page 55 of the Blue Book, just so you kind of get familiar with how agenda items will work. Agenda items have officially closed, so we will not be having any more agenda items submitted at this time. We had 12 submitted, which was great. And our student leadership team will be deciding on which agenda items each group will be working on for the simulation.
So just sorry to interrupt. So if we got the 12 to just give you kind of a breakdown of how the agenda works and how the conferences or meetings will work. We have right now, as Tirza said, 12 agenda items, and the student leadership team will be in charge of basically deciding which of those that they want to use, crafting them, maybe tweaking them a little if they'd like, and then those will be the agenda items that, and then depending on what topic or what area of policy they fall into, they'll go into those. They'll be discussed at those at the various committee meetings, either foreign minister, ECOFIN, and the head of state is obviously, or the head of government is obviously more broadly looking at all of them. Tirza, I think you're on mute.
I did mute myself. Awesome. So as I was saying, seating order, you don't really have to worry about. The GS before every single meeting is going to come in, set up your name cards, and it'll be expected that you guys set up that name card. There will be times during them for unmoderated caucuses, as they're called, which is basically a time to stand up, debate with your fellow members, and then return to your seats. So you will be able to speak to other members of the simulation during this. However, it is expected that you sit at your assigned seat as it would be in a normal EU meeting. The most important stuff that we're probably going to cover tonight is procedures. And they're challenging, and we don't expect you to be amazing at it when you get there. But if you guys want to review pages 58 through 65, I believe is what I marked. Yes. Pretty much the major things are going to be knowing how to address a subject matter, knowing how to call something to order or put forward a motion, call for a motion. Like I call for a motion for an unmoderated caucus of 15 minutes. The chair would then accept calling to order for a vote. All in favor would be from the chair. So this section of the book is really important. I suggest you guys all kind of take your own time to digest it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email our team. We have two very well-versed EU experts as our faculty directors, so they'd be happy to clear up any issues you're having with understanding. Each meeting will be chaired by a member of our student leadership team. So the GS will be, or technically the high rep will be chairing the Foreign Affairs Commission, and then all council meetings will be chaired by various members of the presidency. I believe the way we broke it up is the president of the EU and the president of the commission will be doing the hogs, and then the president of the council will be doing EcoFin, and then co-repair will be somebody else. I can't remember right now, and I don't want to misspeak. So
like we said earlier, it's good to just kind of get somewhat acquainted with how these meetings are proceed, and maybe some of you have experience with this anyways, and I would say don't be intimidated. I remember when I did it, it always seemed like the European students were way better at it. So don't, some of you here and some of you that are not here will be better at, the sort of mechanics of a meeting like this than others. Always just defer to them and don't feel like, you have to be an expert about it. Just you'll start to notice a rhythm to how everything proceeds and how the students interact. I would say your main focus should be learning as much as you can about your country and doing your best to represent whatever country you're representing as they would actually participate in an EU meeting. Don't get too bogged down in the minutia, because that, number one, takes the fun out of it, and then you're not learning as much about the actual substance of your country or the other countries.
any questions?
Anyone at all?
Well, now I'm expecting you guys to be EU experts when you guys get there. So then some final points. You guys will have a GS, a general secretariat, in every single room. They will basically be taking minutes of the meetings, taking notes. So if you have anything from a prior meeting that you would like to go back to and recall, you would go to them for reference. If you have any other students that are interested in attending the conference, please let us know as soon as possible. Just because we are less than 20 days away from the conference, believe it or not, we are 18 days away, which is scary to think about at times. So please get all your lodging situated. Please get all of your travel situated. Our team will be coming down day before. So if you have any questions for us, or you're coming in extra early the next day, and you don't really know what to go, please let somebody on our team know. You guys will all be given our personal cell phone numbers for any issues that happen during the conference. Please feel free to contact me or Derek. We are here to help you guys. So if you have any questions coming up and you just didn't want to ask during the meeting tonight, our inboxes are always open for messages.
Yeah, and like she said, you'll have our phone numbers, and anything that we can't answer, we work really closely with the faculty advisors. So anything that we can't handle, we'll always defer to them. I'm trying to think of anything else. As you get there, like I said, there'll be a natural rhythm and flow to things. So I'm certainly looking forward to it. It's been a lot of hard work, as I'm sure has been for many of you, but it's exciting and you learn a lot. You get to interact with students from all over. So I want to thank you for joining, because it's a lot of, it's a lot of recruiting. It's a lot of, students undergrads, graduate students have a lot of competing interests and competing things that they're, that they're working on when you're going to class, when you're going to school. For many of you, this will be your spring break. So taking out of your time out of your spring break to come do this is much appreciated. And I think you'll be glad you did it, because it's going to be a lot of fun and it'll be a great learning experience.
All right, guys. Well, if you don't have anything else for us, I'll just ask that if you guys would like a Metro card, you please respond to that email as we are getting that all set. If there's any major points that I can send you guys home with, it's please touch base on Robert's Rule of Order and just general language that you guys should be using. Any notes that you guys want to bring to the conference, feel free. This is not like you have to be super straight to the book. If you have a cheat sheet that you want to create, I remember I made a cheat sheet during it and it helped me when trying to make a motion or just making sure I was using the correct verbiage when addressing the presidency. That definitely helped a lot. So please just make sure that you guys are well versed in this, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can. Final thing that I have logistics wise for you guys. At the end of the conference, everybody will be receiving a certificate, basically saying that you participated in the conference. Feel free to add that to your resumes. And then we will also be sending a post-event survey for the research that me and Derek are conducting along with our faculty advisors. If you guys could take a chance to fill it out, that'd be greatly appreciated.
That will be after the conference, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Right now, just make sure you know where you're getting, you know how you're getting there. You have a place to stay, and you are somewhat acquainted with the country you're representing and the individual representative who you're playing.
All right, any questions? All right, I'm going to stop recording.